Today's video, we're going to take your Arroz con Pollo techniques to the next level by going North African flavors, making it meal prep worthy, adding tons of veggies, almost like a risotto-like situation. Oh man, so good. 2 pans and a blender is all you're going to need. Let's go. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Chronicles of Chef. I'm Scott Hamilton, and today we're going to focus on kind of a meal prep kind of vibe. I like to go with one pot, one sheet tray, minimize dishes situations whenever I'm doing my meal prep. So that's what we did today. Arroz con Pollo, but we're going to go into the North African kind of flavors and vibes. I'm sure there's a North African dish that uses a similar techniques and all that kind of stuff. I just don't know what it is, but I do know that adding Ras el Hanout to a Sofrito takes it to a whole new world, and we'll use that in this. Let's get cooking. We got 3 different kinds of peppers that we're gonna do. One is gonna go in the Sofrito, the other 2 are gonna be in the dish. So we're gonna go with the red one in the Sofrito. We're gonna go ahead and top off, bottom. And we're just gonna start putting all of our stuff for our Sofrito. We don't need to cut the rest of it, we just need it torn up. So blend easy and in there. Easy as that. All right, now for other peppers, we're gonna cut them a little bit chunkier so that they hold up to the steaming and cooking. So we want some good medium dice because I want that chunk of pepper. And I wanted green because I wanted that softness and that fresh of the green. Also, the color is gonna be delicious. And the color is gonna be phenomenal to see. And then yellow, again, just that nice, bright, fresh color. The energy of that yellow, the flavor, vibe, and everything is gonna be great going against everything else. But I want the red and the Sofrito because I'm really looking for more of a reddish kind of Sofrito because I want that color to really onto the rice and everything. I think it'll be really pretty. You can use whatever you want. However you like. If you don't like green peppers, don't use green peppers. Hate yellow, whatever bell pepper, whatever peppers you want to use. If you want to go spicier, you want to throw some Anaheims, you want to do some jalapenos in here. You can do all sorts of things to spice it on up to your liking. Now for our onion, we're going to go ahead and half of this onion is going to go into our Sofrito. And then the other half, we're going to do kind of a more of a medium to large dice. As I want that texture of the onions. I want it to not just feel like we're eating delicious rice. I want the feeling of and textures of the vegetables. So there's a nice medium dice. Nice and simple there. And we don't need perfect cuts. It's gonna be okay. This is a one pot meal. This is about trying to make things as flavorful and as simple as we possibly can. I'm gonna go ahead and throw some of my peels in here. I'm not gonna do the peppers. The peppers can be kind of more of like a bitter note when they get cooked down. So we're not gonna do that. All right, turn up. I'm just gonna kind of give this a good peel. My favorite thing about turnips is because it can fit in your hand so easily and it peels pretty easily, is to see just how long of a peel I can do all in one go. Because turnips take a little longer to cook, we're going to cook these a little bit smaller than our bell peppers because those are going to cook really fast. So that way everything can be a similar doneness. I still want texture. I don't want anything super soft. There we go. Lastly, we're going to do our tomatoes. Tomatoes we're going to do also pretty chunky, right? Because we'll put these at the end, and I want the texture and the colors of these tomatoes. It's gonna be beautiful. Next, we'll go ahead and do our parsley. We're gonna go ahead and chop off all these stems. Sofrito, it's the perfect place for them. We're also gonna add probably about a quarter or so of the leaves. And this we're gonna fold in half and then in half again. And now turn it sideways and we're just gonna run our knife through. Run our knife this way. I'm looking for a very big and chunky chop on that because I want that parsley to really be visible and to be tasted in the dish. Next, we got our kale. Kale, all we're gonna do is, you can do a couple ways. You can come through here, and you can tear the stems off, right? We're gonna throw the stems in here. You can take your knife and just swipe at it. Whatever you feel like doing to get your kale all good to go. We're just gonna bunch this guy up. I'm not looking for perfect cuts, but I do want this kale cut down so that it, one, easier to eat, two, it's gonna cook faster. This is gonna condense down. This feels like a whole lot of kale. This is gonna cook way, way down. This is gonna bring a nice earthiness to our dish. We got garlic. I am gonna put about half this garlic. It's about a half a clove or so. We're gonna do that much. Meh, we're gonna throw it all in there. We're gonna do that probably about 10 to 15 or so cloves of garlic going into our sofrito, really making that nice and bright. So I got about 1.5 pounds of chicken thighs here that we're gonna use. I want to minimize those juices, but if you get some of them in there, it's gonna be okay. In this, we're gonna do a blend of spices. I got harissa for a little bit of heat coming in and coming from that North African. So we're gonna do, I don't know, maybe a tablespoon or so. And then we're also gonna do Bonneville seasoning, because I want that herby sense from the Bonneville, and that has lemon peel in it. It's got a little allspice. We're gonna hit it with a little bit of light olive oil. We're gonna let this kind of marinate while we're doing all of our other things. Half hour would be ideal as like a minimum. If you gotta go right into the pan, go right into the pan. Overnight would be great, but I think that that'll be just fine. Oh, smells phenomenal. I'm gonna rinse my rice. I'm a big fan of it. Rinse until it goes clear, and then we'll get to finishing up our sofrito. The other thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and I have a bone broth powder mix. So instead of doing like bouillon for my stock, I'm gonna use this lemon ginger chicken bone broth powder and throw this in, maybe, if it works out for me. Ooh, there we go. There it is. There's that. I'm not sure what the ratio was that you needed for it, but I'm not going to really worry about it because this is going to end up reducing down. So I'm going to go ahead and get this in here so that way I can start rehydrating my golden raisins. And we're not looking for this super rehydrate or anything like that, just to kind of start to soften them up and kind of get that lemon, ginger, bone broth flavors kind of in and intensify that golden raisin flavor. Here we go. All right, into our sofrito, we are going to do obviously all this fresh deliciousness. We're also gonna do a teaspoon of Ras el Hanout. Oh, and we'll saute with this throughout. But just to kind of, again, build out all those flavors and do that, it's gonna be delicious. We're also gonna do a teaspoon, which is a full servings of some caldo de tomate de pollo, some tomato and chicken bouillon kind of a deal, around a teaspoon or so. And last but not least to this, we are going to do a tablespoon of tahini, just to kind of give it this nice nuttiness to it all and really just kind of really round out and build up all those flavors. Woo. There we go. And then, all right, we got about a quarter cup of water in there just because we're gonna need that to help blend all of this deliciousness up. Get this on here. And blend away. All right. Oh, this smells phenomenal. I might have put a little too much water in there, but it's gonna cook down and it's gonna be so good. This is gonna be killer in it. I am stoked. All right, let's get all set up to cook. Now that we're all set up for success, we've got our mise en place all set. This pan is starting to get hot. I've been cooking this down for a few minutes, just trying to get all those flavors to get to know each other and to fortify that bone broth. It's gonna be delicious. Woo! Smells good. Raisins are gonna be delicious. They're just kind of steaming in there, rehydrating. Gonna be great. All right, first things first, we got this pan feeling nice and hot. All right, you know how we do when we got stainless steel? We got beads. We're getting there. It's not quite hot enough yet, so we're gonna let that go, but we are beading really nice in the middle. It's on the edges. So the heat is still reaching out to the sides, which is good. If we tilt it, see it just also doesn't help that this pan seems to have warped. We can spin it. All right, now that we got our pan nice hot, we're gonna do about a tablespoon or so of some nice cooking oil. This is avocado oil. I'm just gonna let that spread out through the whole pan there. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna sear off our chicken. There we go. Oh yeah. Oh, the smell is so good. We're just one ginormous piece. We're gonna let this sear for about 3 to 5 minutes. Not really touching it, not doing anything. We want this to just really get a good hard crust in that sear and get those flavors working into this pan. Nice color on there. We'll flip this guy over. Ooh, good, decent color there. We want to sear both sides. There we go. So that's all we're looking for is just some browning, some good color, and we're gonna throw it right back in the bowl that we had them in when we season them up. And these are just gonna go off to the side to hang out until we put them back into our pan and cook it with all the rice and everything. So, not gonna do anything in this pan. We're just gonna cook straight into it. Onions, so we got that half an onion. We'll let that cook down. And of course, we're gonna season as we go. So we're gonna hit it with a little salt, a little pepper, and we're gonna turn this down to like a medium-high heat. We got some leftover lemon juice from that beurre citron video. Let's throw some of that in there just to help kind of deglaze this pan, get all that fond up. Oh yeah, there we go. So similar to the style of like Arroz con Pollo, we're gonna build all these delicious flavors, add in our rice and cook everything. So knowing that we're gonna need to cook all this with the rice, we wanna be paying attention to where we're at on the cook so that we don't lose our texture on these vegetables. When we add them, how long we let them cook for is gonna be very key so that we end with really good textural components in our dish in this like one pot. We don't want it all just to be mush. So I like that we're starting to get some caramelization on the onions. We're starting to see some translucency happening, which is beautiful, and that's what we want. So we're gonna kind of put our onions off to the side, and we're gonna hit our turnip in here, and we're looking just to get some good browning on the turnips. Go ahead and hit some salt, of course a little pepper. We're just gonna get this nice little mix. There we go. Oh yeah. So this is why I like using the taller, kind of more of like a rondeau style pan for this. Is one, I like having a flatter bottom, give us lots of surface area. We're not looking to really do any more sauteing or searing in this. It's more about just getting nice and spread out, keeping that layer thin of food so that we can cook them all a little faster. But then we have less spillage, less things are gonna fly out of this. That's why I like these hard edges. Gives me something to stir against, something to measure against. Oh yeah. Smelling delicious. All right, we are going to do just a little sprinkling of some Ras el Hanout. So I think like maybe all in all, it might be close to a tablespoon that we use. And then we're also gonna just do a little splash of this harissa, just to kind of bring in some heat. Turnips, great thing to take on flavor really, really well. So we wanna make sure that we get those good and seasoned. Ooh. We're gonna take our beautiful golden raisins and throw them into this pan because we're gonna add them later. If you fell in, that's okay. We're gonna go ahead and get some of this stock and just, again, a good deglazing of the pan. We're gonna let that kind of pull everything off. And we're gonna making kind of like a glaze as we're going. Oh yeah. We're gonna throw in our kale. Let that start to cook down. And layers of freshness and everything. We're gonna hit it with some of our parsley. Of course, salt, pepper. Start folding this in. And we're just gonna let this cook now, probably about 3 to 5 minutes until that liquid's just about all the way gone. Look how beautiful that is. And that smell is intoxicating. Love it. So as you can see, most of that liquid is cooked out. Throw in some of our Sofrito and give that a good stir. Really start to get those flavors developing and nice and rich. Oh, Oh man, that smell just hit me. Ooh, that is delicious. And it's completely different than like when you do, like when you did the romesco sauce. You could use the romesco sauce in place of this. It's just a different kind of flavor because of how rich and deep it is from the roasting, versus this is just so bright and fresh because everything was raw that we blended into there. Oh man. And it has a little bit of a curry vibe, but it's definitely, I mean, the Ras el Hanout is North African, but I mean, they have similar complex uses of the spices and the way that they blend spices. And Ras el Hanout is really cool because there's not like a specific recipe for Ras el Hanout. It was kind of a way for spice shops to show off what they were making and how they were doing, and their different spices and everything. So like, every spice shop had their own kind of recipe, and families had their own recipes, and so everyone's gonna be slightly different. We're gonna switch back and forth. Add a little bit of stock, kind of let that cook down. Then we'll go back to that Sofrito situation. Let it cook down. Oh man. Really, I'm just really trying to get a good start on the cook here of our turnips as well as the kale. We're gonna hit it with some more salt. If you remember, we had no salt in here, so this is just fresh ingredients. So you're gonna need to salt heavily, and you're gonna be tasting it while you're cooking it, because then we're gonna add rice. You gotta salt your rice really heavily, right? We don't want to lose out on any flavor because we forgot to salt. All right, there we go. And we're gonna let this kind of cook down. Oh. All right, we're gonna throw in our golden raisins. Give that a good stir. Just a nice little sweetness, a little soft chew, different textural component. And then our bell peppers. Now we're getting some beautiful colors working. And remember, we just added 2 ingredients. So we need to make sure we hit it with some salt. And then we're also gonna do our last little, probably like teaspoon or so of Ras el Hanout. Just kind of try to build that flavor throughout this dish. We're also gonna do a little splash of lemon juice. Just trying to balance that brightness versus all the rich, deep flavors of those spices. Keep everything bright and fresh with splashes of lemon juice. Oh, and it goes great with our bone broth that has ginger and lemon in it as well. We're gonna add the rest of our sofrito. We want this to start kind of cooking up, coming to life. Got our sofrito in there nicely. Hit with a little more salt. Let's just get in here for that sauce. We'll go golden raisin. Whoa. All sorts of delicious things happening right now. That was good. It's a hair on the salty side, which is perfect because we still have our rice to add. I'm going to cook it down. So this right here, it's okay to be slightly salty. As you're tasting it, you're like, you shouldn't be questioning if it needs more salt. You should be questioning if there's almost too much salt, because that means it's going to be great for when we add that rice into it. Oh man, I am excited. Okay, we're going to go ahead and throw our tomatoes in. Give that a little fold. Oh man, look at the colors now. It's bright and it's beautiful. Oh, I love it. We're going to add in our rice. We did a cup of rice. Because we did so many other veggies, I didn't want to go too much rice. So we got all that liquid from the sofrito in here. We got the rice, looking delicious. Throw this guy through the strainer. I'm gonna measure it out. 2 cups of broth here. There's 1, and there is 2. It's all right if it's a little extra. Give this a good stir. Gentle, we're at the very top now. There's no room. There's no wiggle room here. Let's go ahead and try this broth situation. Oh man. That is out of this world phenomenal. Woohoo! I like our nice little soft simmer that we have going on here. We are going to add our chicken back in. Chicken's gonna go back in. We're just gonna go right on top. Go. We're gonna drizzle all that deliciousness in there. Okay. I'm gonna cover this guy up. And we're gonna let this simmer for about a half hour. We'll come back and check on it. While that's happening, get ourselves nice and cleaned up. go. All right, we're now a half hour or so in. Chicken's a donezo. Want to make sure we're taking our chicken to at least 165. I'm sorry, we needed to reach 165. But really, you can take it to like 160. It's gonna carry over, cook just fine. But we're gonna pull these guys out, let them rest separately. I'm also gonna weigh them so that we can portion them out for our meal prep. All right, so we're just over a pound on those, so that's perfect. And we're just gonna give this a little stir, see how we're looking in here. Oh yeah. Oop, there's a piece of chicken. Grab that guy and put him over there. All right. Oh yeah. See, I don't think there's a lot of sauce down here, and for me that's okay. Before we get too carried away with everything else, let's see how all this is tasting. I love the consistency of it. Super hot, but so good. That turnip that I just had just kind of melted in my mouth. There's good texture. There's like soft crunch, and then just kind of puree situation in. Oh man. Salt levels, good. Everything is tasting delicious. Splash of lemon juice just to kind of brighten everything up again real quick. See, like not a whole lot, maybe a tablespoon or so. We're gonna do a pinch or so, big heavy pinch of parsley, maybe with just a little more salt, and then give this a mix. Oh yeah. All right, we're gonna set this off to the side to cool. Get our chicken cut up and get plating. All right, we're gonna go ahead and get this meat chopped up to make our meal prep and our servicing and everything just that much easier. We did let it cool just a little bit before we cut into it. We want to make sure you give it a chance to rest. But look at that. Let's see here. Oh yeah, that is delicious. The Bonneville comes through strongly on it. I love that. Also, the harissa is this like perfect little spice. So then you get little notes from the Ras el Hanout deliciousness that it was cooked in. So you're just getting flavor from all sorts of directions. Tender and juicy. Now that we got our chicken all done, when I meal prep, even if I'm not tracking macros or anything of that kind of stuff, I do my best to keep things by weight just so that I know my portions are consistent and even. Because that's the biggest thing for meal prep for me. Isn't necessarily about tracking macros or making those things easy. It's about knowing that I'm consistently eating within a good range and that I'm not like overeating this day to the next day because I'm pre-controlling my portion sizes. So we are gonna start with doing a cup of our rice. And we're gonna see how much that weighs. So that's about 9.5 ounces. So I think we're just gonna go up to about 11 ounces on that guy. And then we're gonna go ahead and, Alexa, what's 16 divided by 5?
16 divided by 5 is 3.2.
All right, we're gonna do about 3 ounces of chicken. So there it is. All right, so there will be one portion. We're gonna go ahead and make a plate for me right now. All right, so we're gonna do a nice big scoop. All right, so it looks like I was off just a hair. It's all good. So we're just gonna kind of add a little more there, a little more here, a little more here. The great thing is that like that's just veggies and rice. Like that's deliciousness right there. All right, get the chicken right on top here. Now you can mix this all up. It'll be more stew-like. You can have the chicken separated. Kind of whatever you want to do. This is gonna be some fresh parsley. We don't have anything else for this parsley, so we're gonna use it all. All right, let's dig in on this. I am so stoked. First, let's get this rice. I like that we did the extra liquid. It's almost like risotto-y now, and I am for that. Oh, golden raisin just have, oh man. So my brother makes this like Moroccan, south of France, couscous dish that uses Ras el Hanout. That's how I was introduced to those flavors. It's usually like with lamb and potatoes and like sausage, and it's this stewy deliciousness. And this right here is like a meal prep version of heaven of that. Man, the kale was really earthy and good. Has a good amount of spice to it, not too spicy, but again, that golden raisin, just that pop of sweetness. Oh, the turnip was cooked perfectly on that. Oh man, that was delicious. The chicken was cooked perfectly. That's why I love like the one pot meal. That chicken's gonna kind of braise. Everything's working great. The rice is slightly al dente, but that's perfect because this is like a meal prep. If I was gonna make this and eat it right here and like right now, like I am doing now, but if I was making this to serve to a whole bunch of people, this would definitely want to cook it another like 5 or so minutes. But reheating it, it's gonna be perfect. That rice isn't gonna turn to mush. The vegetables aren't gonna be mushy. They're gonna have good texture. That's why we layered all the cooking times and the way we cut them and everything was paid attention to all those kinds of things. Oh man, that's so good. I wish I had like something to cut this. One second. How about a little mango chutney? I think that mint chutney would be better, but I couldn't find one at the store and I didn't feel like making one. So we're just gonna go with this mango chutney. Whoa. That's pretty good. I like it. Ooh, man, that is good. You could do a cilantro lime vinaigrette. You could do a tzatziki over the top. There's all sorts of things if you wanted to help kind of cut through all this. I don't think it necessarily needs it. I think a splash more of lemon juice or just vinegar would be good. The sweetness of that adds some greatness to this, but unnecessary. Man, that was good. All right, thank you so much for watching. This was delicious. I hope it inspires you to simplify your meal prepping and not to get stressed out about calories, macros, any of those things. Just start with the basics. Portion yourself out, be aware of your portions to make your life easy for lunch throughout the whole week. You can do all sorts of flavor-packed meals like this that are gonna reheat great, all sorts of delicious things. If there's something that you would love to see meal prep, or how can I get this to prep or meal prep or anything like that, let me know. Get it down in the comments and shoot me a message, whatever we need to do so we can get those videos made for you to help you get in the kitchen cooking delicious food like this. Like, subscribe, do all those fun things. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.